All right, let's talk about a discovery that could literally change everything about our modern world, from the phone in your pocket to the car you drive. And it all starts with one almost unbelievable number. $1.5 trillion. Just let that number hang in the air for a second. That's the potential value of a massive resource that was just discovered. So the big question is, what is it? And where on earth has it been hiding?
So what could possibly be worth that much? Gold? Diamonds? Nope. The real answer is way cooler and a whole lot more explosive. Turns out, it's been hiding deep inside this. A supervolcano. That's right, I know it sounds like something out of a movie. The key to our high-tech future might be locked away inside a crater that's 16 million years old. So how in the world do we connect an ancient eruption to a modern-day tech revolution? Well, let's dig in.
All right, so first up, a trillion-dollar volcano. Let's break down exactly what researchers stumbled upon on the border of Nevada and Oregon that has everyone from tech giants to the government paying very close attention.
Okay, so say hello to the McDermott caldera. You can basically think of it as this giant scar left on the Earth after that super eruption millions of years ago. And over all that time, the ash and sediment settled into this really unique type of clay, a clay that just so happens to be absolutely packed with lithium.
And we're not talking about a small amount here. The estimates are just staggering. Somewhere between 20 and 40 million metric tons of lithium. Now, to put that into perspective, that could easily be the biggest known deposit on the entire planet. But to really get why that's such a massive deal, we first have to talk about America's lithium problem.
So let's get into America's lithium problem. It's not that we don't use it. Oh, we use tons of it. The problem is where we've been getting it from. You see, our reliance on other countries, well, it comes with some pretty serious risks.
First things first, let's be super clear. Lithium is the absolute lifeblood of modern technology. I mean, it's in the battery of whatever device you're watching this on right now. It's what's powering the entire electric vehicle revolution. It's in the giant batteries we need for renewable energy. It is, and this is not an exaggeration, everywhere.
And this chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got our current situation, a long, tangled supply chain that's vulnerable to politics and has crazy price swings. But on the right, that's the potential of a domestic source, a short, simple supply chain, way less risk, and stable, predictable costs for businesses here at home. It's a total game changer.
Which brings us right to the solution. We're going to talk about how this one discovery, this one ancient volcano, could completely redraw the map for US tech and business for decades to come.
So who actually wins here? Well, it's a long list. You've got EV makers, battery producers. They get a reliable local source for their most important ingredient. The renewable energy folks can build out storage with a lot more confidence. And really, any business that uses electronics or just wants costs they can actually predict, this is a huge win for them. And it all really boils down to cost. A stable, domestic supply chain almost always leads to lower, or at the very least, more predictable battery costs. And what does that mean for you and me? Well, it could mean more affordable electric cars, cheaper phones and laptops, and just better bottom lines for companies all across the board.
You know, the researchers who found this really said it best. A domestic source could stabilize pricing, shorten supply chains, and reduce dependence. In other words, it's all about giving American businesses a level of control they've never really had in this market. But, of course, there's a huge difference between finding buried treasure and actually digging it up.
So how do we get from this amazing discovery to actually using the stuff? Let's take a look at the road ahead. The opportunities, yeah, but also the big hurdles.
And look, this isn't just some pipe dream. The ball is already rolling. There's a project called Thacker Pass, right inside the caldera, that's already being built. And their target? To start production by 2027. That is right around the corner.
So if you're a business, what can you do right now to get ready? Well, the research gives us a pretty clear playbook. First, start watching lithium and battery prices like a hawk. Second, start looking into partnerships with these new American suppliers. Third, keep an eye on government policy. There could be grants or tax credits coming. And finally, think about the marketing. A made-in-the-USA supply chain? That's a powerful story to tell. But let's be real for a second. It would be crazy to think this is a guaranteed win. Not every big discovery pans out. So what could go wrong? Yeah, the road from here to there is definitely a tricky one. Just getting all the permits can take years and be a bureaucratic nightmare. Big mining projects like this often run into some serious local and environmental opposition, which means delays and legal fights.
Plus, there are still technical puzzles to solve, like how to get the lithium out of this specific clay cheaply and at a massive scale. And, at the end of the day, the whole thing has to actually make money to be viable.
Okay, but let's zoom out for a minute. Because this discovery, whether it hits that full $1.5 trillion potential or not, is part of a much, much bigger story about America's strategic future. This right here, this is about a huge shift in how the world works. For decades, it was all about globalization. But then the pandemic and all the geopolitical drama showed us just how fragile those long supply chains are. So now there's this big push for reshoring, basically bringing the production of critical stuff back home to make the country more secure. This volcano isn't just a pile of lithium. It's a perfect symbol of that change.
Ultimately, this is about way more than just one mineral. Like the research says, the McDermott caldera could become a cornerstone of America's tech future. It's not just a mine, it's a huge strategic advantage for any business that's smart enough to get in on it early.
So it all leaves us with this one kind of wild question. For so long, we've looked all over the world for the resources to power our future. But what if the key to that future, a trillion-dollar key, was buried right here, in our own backyard, the whole time, just waiting inside an ancient volcano?